Hi guys, this is another video of me sharing my quest with Michael Beckwith, the live visioning quest. I want to do a video for all days that I am participating, and wow, what a lesson today's was. It's so incredibly inspiring to watch him and to hear him tell his things, and to also find what things are already shifting, what is already changing in my life. And it can be just really simple things, like I've noticed that my handwriting has changed. It has gone back to the way that I wrote when I was younger, more round and more beautiful and better legible, and more what I remember always being my handwriting than the handwriting I had for this past couple of years. And it's amazing to see it, but it's also amazing to just feel how I am already changing. And it's only day 3 of this quest. I feel so much more like myself. I feel so much more at ease, at peace with myself, happier, balanced. And again, it's only day 3, and it's amazing. And I want to share this journey with you because it's extraordinary, and I think it's worth sharing. And day 3, today's lesson, it was about authenticity and the 4 pillars of freedom. And well, it starts with authenticity because that is also what I teach in my practice, and that is what I strive to be, to want to be my true authentic self. And to me, authenticity is showing the real you, not the person you think other people want you to be, not the person you think people expect you to be, but the real you, the you that you feel deep down inside that you are, the you that you are often afraid to let out because of past experiences, past hurts. I had the same. I was afraid of being who I really am because I was afraid that people won't accept me, that I was not going to fit in, that I was not good enough, that I would be rejected, that I would be a disappointment to people. All kinds of doubts and fears were there for hindering me from being who I truly am. And it progresses, and now with having chosen to do this quest, I feel like so many things are changing, and that I am more my authentic self now than I've ever been in my life. And yeah, it's wonderful. It's amazing. It's incredible. And yeah, I want to share it, how that feels. I hope you can see it. And he also talks about freedom, and one of the questions that he asks is, what is freedom to you? So what does freedom mean to you? And in this case it's me, but I'm also asking you, if you're watching this today, what does authenticity and what does freedom mean to you? Because freedom is infinite possibilities, like the possibility to be my true authentic self, to shine bright without fears, without doubts, just connected with love, and acting from a place of love, choosing from a place of love. But also the possibility to be able to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. And the possibility to share that with other people without fears, without doubts. It's infinite possibilities. That to me is true freedom. It's financial freedom, it's emotional freedom, it's freedom in every area of your life. No holding back, no blocks anymore, just shine and going, and infinite possibilities. That to me is pure freedom. And I am already experiencing more and more freedom in my life, and it tastes like more. I want more of it. And yeah, what the lesson today, it was mind blowing. I already knew some of the subjects, but in this context, with this information, it's just it has occupied my mind this entire day. I came back to this lesson several times and expanded on what I already wrote. And Michael says freedom is our birthright. It's something that we already always have. It's something that has been given to us already because we are a spiritual being. We have a spiritual nature, and with that we have no beginning and we have no end, and that means that we are free. And when we experience a lack of freedom, that is put on us. It's not natural. It's not the natural state of our being. It's something that we acquired during our lives, this lack of freedom. And well, the question then is, how do you reclaim this birthright of being free? And he talks about the 4 pillars of freedom as being the answer to that question. And the first pillar that he talks about is the pillar of self-discipline. And his discipline is falling in love with something. Because when you fall in love with something, you give it a priority, and it holds your interest. And the moment something holds your interest, you will do it. So for me, if I look at my life, how I can optimize my self-discipline is by having that morning routine, by having that evening routine, and by sticking to them, by doing them daily, but by filling them with things that make me happy, things that I love to do, not things that my mind thinks of, that I force myself to do, but things that just flow, that come naturally, like meditating every morning, doing my gratitude ritual, doing my Ho'oponopono ritual, grounding, breathing right, journaling. Those are things that I love doing. And especially when I feel stressed, when I feel like there's no time to do, you have the tendency to just skip them. But in order to become free, you don't need to skip them. You need to make room for them. You need to skip maybe other things, but not these types of things. So that is what I am going to do in order to increase my self-discipline. Not try to do things with my mind anymore, but listen to my heart and listen to my intuition, and have that guide me in the things that are important to me. And that also means the good evening ritual. And in that, I want to reflect on how my day was, on how things went, what went well, what went not so well, how could I change that in the future, how it is for you. But I have this inner narrator in my head, and she's a hoot. She's really funny. I can have these immensely deep talks with her and discuss things on a level that I am not able to discuss it with most other people in my life. And she always has this funny perspective on things, and this advice that really helps me. And it's sometimes I laugh about myself, because you're basically talking to a voice in your head, which is basically talking to yourself. And I think if other people could hear me, they might think I'm crazy. But I find so much comfort in this talks with myself, in learning from things that I could improve upon, from the things that I do. And that's something I want to do more of in regard to strengthening the pillar of self-discipline. So that was a huge insight of today's lesson. And the second pillar that he talks about is the pillar of self-responsibility. And he says that when you take responsibility of yourself, you respond to the innate freedom that is already inside of you. And he says that is wisdom and the guidance that is bubbling up within you and responding to your true nature instead of to circumstance. And that is what I find happens so often. Things happen, and then an autopilot program kicks in, and you just respond automatically to that situation. And most of the time, we have this huge body. Eckhart Tolle also talks about this, and when things happen that hurt you, then it usually has to do with that pain body that is inside of us. And we have created all these different kinds of autopilot programs that fire immediately once this pain is touched upon, and that's responding to circumstances. But I think real freedom is decide how you want to respond to certain things and not have an automatic autopilot program that takes that choice away from you. It's becoming aware of having the choice to be able to respond differently if the way that you are responding right now is not the way that you like or even want. And you always have the freedom to choose your own thoughts. Most of the time we think we are a slave of our thoughts, that we have no control over our thoughts, but that's just not true. We always have the choice to think other things. If we are thinking things that we don't want to think, we have the freedom to think of our next holiday and where it's going to be and what we are going to do and on all those types of things. And we can choose to think those thoughts any time of day, in whatever circumstances. It's just you need to become aware that that is possible, and then you can start to react from your true nature. You can look at the way you've always responded and think, is this truly how I want to respond to this situation, or is this just something that I automatically do without thinking about it, because this is the way I've always responded to those circumstances. And it's liberating to discover this, to be a part of this amazing journey into self-discovery. And yes, I'm reading my notes to see if I missed something. Yes, often we think responsibility is something that stems from obligation. Responsibility is bubbling up with the ability to respond to our higher nature, responding to love and to peace and to joy, rather than do something that is debilitating or limiting. Responsibility and taking responsibility for your thoughts and your actions and your feelings especially gives you a level of freedom that is just not possible when you don't take that responsibility. And if I look at what I wrote down for strategies to practice more self-responsibility, it is to, for instance, and to connect with my higher self on a daily basis, check in with myself regularly, not just once a day, but multiple times a day, to ask myself, hey honey, how are you? Are you still okay? Are you still doing what you love? Do you need anything? Is there something inside of you that requires your attention, or maybe something outside of you that requires your attention? And checking in with myself often to have those needs met when they arise. And that is something I can do to increase my self-responsibility. And another thing that I thought about that I could do is remembering that there are two ways that we can make a choice. We can make a choice either based on fear, so not going on holiday because you fear that you don't have the money to pay for it, or you fear that if you do, then your work will not get done and there will be a huge pile of work when you come back, or the fear that people will judge you for going on holiday again, or the fear that your colleagues or peers won't accept it because you want to go for 3 months and they have all kinds of opinions about it. Or just choosing from a place of love, choosing to go on that holiday because you love traveling and you love expanding your horizons and you love connecting with new people, learning about new cultures, tasting new foods, submerging yourself in those types of activities because you deserve it. You work hard and this is just something you love doing. And I want to dedicate myself more to choosing from a place of love instead of choosing from a place of fear. And I would love to hear your thoughts about this as well. So that was also a huge insight today in today's lesson. And the third pillar he talks about is self-awareness. And that means that you need to reflect on yourself and on your own actions, and that you need to look at who you are and what you do. You have to observe yourself, but without judgment, because we as HSPs, we are so strict, especially for ourselves. We raise the bar so high for ourselves, and that's just such a shame. I used to do the same. I remember doing my acupuncture exams, and I thought I was going to have a 9 or a 9.5, and then my grade came and I had an 8.5, and I was actually disappointed because it wasn't the 9 or the 9.5 I thought I was going to have, and I was disappointed in myself, and I felt like I hadn't I didn't do well. And then somebody pointed out to me, but babe, you know, an 8.5 is a really, really good mark. You should be proud of yourself. And at that time, I couldn't. And I see this a lot with us HSPs, that this is one of our problems, one of our struggles. And yeah, self-awareness makes you aware of these things, and you get to observe your actions, but then without judging them. And you can observe, yeah, okay, I thought that that was the mark I was going to get, but I did get this mark, and it's amazing. Whoa, me, good job, and way to go. So Michael says that growth and unfoldment comes from self-awareness and from being conscious of our thoughts and our hidden beliefs, and choosing to change them if they are hindering us, if they are not helping us succeed in life. And he says your emotional content is emerging without judgment. You are becoming aware of what is already there, and your paradigm is expanding, and your point of view is expanding, and you are becoming more and more aware of what is real and authentic. And that, I think, is what it's all about: to be real, to be authentic, to shed all these masks that we put on. We often have a mask that is, I'm going to work mask. I have a mask, I am at home with my children mask. I have a mask, I am with my partner mask. I have a mask for being with my friends. And what if we lost them? What if we let go of all these masks? What if we just chose to be our true, real, with faults, with vulnerabilities, scary as shit, but real? What would that be like? I think I want to try it. I feel like I'm ready to try it, to be real and as authentic as I can be, because it's also one of my core values in my company. Freedom is one of them. Authenticity is the third. And it all comes together so beautiful in this quest. And it also flows into the fourth pillar, which is self-remembrance. And it's about remembering the beautiful, unique person that you are. Remembering all the wonderful things that you've already done in your life, but that you are still scheduled to do. Remembering your beauty, remembering your loveliness, remembering your unique soul expression, you remembering your deep wisdom, because I think the answers, they are all inside of us. They're all there. And we just need to reconnect with them, because we once were connected to them. As a child, we are connected to our unique soul expression, and we lose that as adults. And it's such a shame that we have to work so hard to get that back. It would be amazing if we never lost it in the first place. So, real eye-opener, day 3, this journey into authenticity and into freedom. And if I'm looking what I wrote down in how I want to embody each pillar more. And for self-awareness, I wrote down reflect on yourself and your day and your actions, and have the conversations with yourself, learn and grow from those conversations, but also healing old pains, removing barriers and obstacles that we have acquired in our life, and letting go of limiting beliefs, for instance. And yes, connecting with your true self on a daily basis. I think that is my takeaway from this lesson. So thank you, Michael, for everything that you're doing and everything that you're teaching. And the last 2 questions for today were, how was love expressed at your home? And that is an excellent question, because love in my home, it wasn't freely expressed. My dad used to beat me, and he used to call me names, and he was abusive, and he even strangled me at one point. And that was sometimes, and on other times he wanted to cuddle, and he wanted to joke me, and that was just, I couldn't handle it. It was too different. It's like yin and yang, black and white, and it was so confusing as a child, and it made me feel so incredibly unsafe. And my dad was often at home because he tended to lose his job often, and that made my mother work 2 jobs, so she wasn't at home. She worked a day job and a night job, and the times that she was at home, she was physically there, but emotionally she wasn't there. She tried her best. I know for sure she did. But she also finds it difficult to express love, and it's usually done not with words, but with actions, or with gifts, or with money. So love is not something that has developed, I think, in the way it should have for me when I was young. And the next question was, what were the messages that you received in your life? Was life perceived as abundant or as scarce? And our life was perceived as scarce. Life is hard was the message. You have to work hard for what you want in life. Things don't come easy. Life is a constant struggle to make ends meet, and you have to fight for your place in life. Those are the things that have been passed on to me in my childhood. And those are the things that I am trying to heal now in order to become my true authentic self, to heal those old pains, to let go of those limiting beliefs, and to connect with my true higher self and choose from a place of love. So yeah, that was my take on day 3. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening. And I will gladly tell you about day 4 tomorrow.